veteran wearing that new outfit, he was like $1 million. Giving back is key for me, quite frankly. We did an event called Suiting Our Heroes, where we invited everybody to come in and basically donate their gently used suit. Because there's a lot of veterans out there, to be quite frank, that can't even afford a suit. So what we did was we had the community get involved, giving food, giving some soft drinks, and basically come out and donate your gently used suit. What we did with those suits is we went ahead and gave them to veterans that couldn't afford anything because they're gently used. We had them tailored. We donated a shirt and tie to go with that. And guess what? When you see a veteran wearing that new outfit, he was like $1 million. And he knows he can go out there for the next chapter of his life and feel confident about that.
Bam! We're live. You look smoked. What happened, Ranger buddy?
Oh, man, it's your fault. I blame you. I blame you. I blame you. I'm sitting here or standing. I went this morning to Frontline Fitness, and I did my assessment. And during my assessment, it basically assessed me exactly like I thought it would. Out of shape. But no, I appreciate it. You actually helped me out. You held me accountable, and that's what it's about. And you talk about it all the time. The REST principle, the acronym REST. I was doing some of them. Honestly, wasn't doing any of them until I met you again. Recircled back around and working on the E now, the exercise part. So
yeah. So one, you weren't out of shape because round is a shape.
Oval.
But no, I'm glad. I mean, those aren't tracking or new to the show. The REST principle is read, exercise, sleep, and think. And James and I were guilty about focusing too much on the sleep and not enough on the exercise.
Actually, not even sleep, to be honest. We didn't focus on that either.
True, but you got to take time, and that's what last couple of weeks our Motivation Mondays on LinkedIn have been about, just making yourself better. It doesn't have to be the Monday blah. There's got to be a way just to start off your week with some motivation to kick it off. And I think this Monday I'm dragging it in. I'm coming in I'm smoked, but it's because we have so many great things going on. With Kim Walsh Phillips. She was on 2 weeks ago. We did the live cast, but submitted our pitch for Kevin O'Leary of Shark Tank and Kim. They're going to be some of the coaches for the pitch contest. So let's see if we get the pitch. But then also for our 45-minute coaching for our Ventures Guide to Building Superhero Branding and Authority Marketing. And then also for our upcoming webinar, which will be Selling Success. And that'll be next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. And if you're interested in joining that is going to be, I'll put a link in the comments, but that's going to be at jtf214.com/sell. And so we'll put so you can register for that, but we'll put a link in there. But that's going to be basically how you can go and get a laser-focused mindset, employ military superpowers for your business success, achieve speed through deliberate, decisive action, and dominate your market. If you want to learn how to do that, sign up for the course, and you'll be there with yours truly and Spartan 6. So
I tell you, you've been earning your the MOAC title the last week here. You've been busting it, and while some of us were at Atlantic Beach, you've been crushing it and doing a lot of things. And now, pulling the curtain behind, there's the wizard, the MOAC right there, just crushing it and doing some great things. I'm excited about this week. Excited about today. If you're watching this on Wednesday, we're going to be, doing that event on Wednesday, and it's going to be amazing. This is going to be a good week.
It is. I'm excited. I'm excited about this week's guest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is she. So I met her in Bunker Labs. She's actually one of the alumni captains. So the way it works is some of the previous cohorts stay on and basically help teach, coach, and mentor us. And we talked about that 2 weeks ago or last week on our Motivation Mondays, the importance of finding a teacher, a coach, and a mentor. And that's what she does. She helps us in the current cohort of 22 Alpha, stumble and find our way so we can continue to improve ourselves. So appreciate her staying on.
And this is, if you're an entrepreneur, especially, this is your number one friend. This needs to be your friend, in tax season and, tax preparation, bookkeeping. This is where you're actually separates an entrepreneur from success and an entrepreneur that fails.
No, it's true. It's true. You guys are seeing the title of this, the one with the Queen of Tax Prep. There's a reason for that. We're bringing in the Queen, and you're going to love it. Are you ready to bring her on?
I'm ready. The rumor is if we have her on today, that means the IRS is going to start watching us more, though. That's what I'm scared of.
No, they're going to not watch us because they said, they're working with the Queen. We're good.
Oh, okay. We're good then. Let's bring her on then.
Oh no, we got James up there. All right, welcome.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good
morning.
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is, yes.
Well, it's that time of year, so just getting you on the calendar was very difficult. I know you're like up to here with taxes right now, so.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I know it was. I felt kind of. We had you scheduled after April 15th, and I'm like, would she shoot me if I asked her to come on earlier to throw out? But you were good enough to say, okay, but only if it's recorded. And, but no, I appreciate you coming on and talking to our followers. So, but Clarice, will you tell us a little bit about yourself? Do a little intro for us, please.
Sure. And James, no, don't worry about the IRS looking at you more because I'm on, okay? What I'm doing is to help remove the fear from that, right? Again, my name is Clarice Williams, and I'm a Air Force veteran spouse. Air Force is the best there is. And I'm also the owner of Webb's Tax Preparation and Bookkeeping Services. A part of my why and why I'm doing this is to help small businesses. Just like you mentioned, why I'm still with Bunker Labs right now is because I want to continue to help entrepreneurs, right? Small businesses, mid-sized businesses, just like yourself, and those I come in contact with. But I want to help them decrease their tax liability and understand where their money is going. That's why we do bookkeeping as well. As a former IRS employee, of course, I am here to remove the fear in dealing with them, right? So our ideal customers, self-employed, small, medium-sized business owners who need tax assistance and help with their bookkeeping. And we just recently launched our truck division where we're doing truck dispatching, and we're trying to become a one-stop shop for them as well to get them started on the right foot. So ask away, ask any questions you want to. I am here for you right now. I slotted out this time for you guys.
So let's talk about life in the military. Because that's always a challenge. And I say life in the military, as we were talking about before, is as a military family member and a military spouse and being in the military, we're all in the military because we don't just PCS alone. We don't move alone. We all find out at the same time. We're going to Korea. We're going to Germany. We're going to, Fort Hood or, Joint Base San Antonio. So what was that like for you? Are you coming from a military family, or did you just marry into it, or how did this come about?
I did marry into it, and I jokingly tell people my husband tricked me, right? So when we first got together, he said, he's in the Air Force and how he doesn't deploy as much, and we'll be together mostly as a family. And I swear, as soon as I sign on the dotted line or put that ring on, I don't think I saw him. He was just gone a lot. There was different things happening where, the military is constantly aiding, right? They're aiding other countries, or even stateside. They need their assistance, and he's gone for weeks or months at a time. And of course, we had little babies, 3 girls altogether, our charmed ones. Yes. But essentially, what's that law where if something could happen, it would happen?
Oh, that's the James Kelp law.
Murphy's or Charlie, somebody, whatever his name is. I promise you, every day we would be so fine up until he left. And as soon as he left, I'll never forget. One morning, my daughter woke up, business as usual, getting ready for school. She went to the bathroom. The toilet broke in half. It was amazing. It was like, how does that happen? Yeah. Or the sump pump breaks, or Hurricane Sandy came through Jersey. Those are things that happen, and that's how we marry into it.
Yeah, and that's real life too. So here's a question. Did he hoodwink you, or did he get hoodwinked by the Air Force? Who did the hoodwinking?
Like I said, I jokingly say it, but I wouldn't change anything. I'm definitely grateful for the experience. It made me real. Now, mind you, before I was with him, in all honesty, I was a single parent. So a lot of that journey helped me become a military spouse, because there were times I still had to deal with things by myself. Right. And even though the military do try to put things in place for spouses, sometimes help never comes at a convenient time, right? Never. It always comes in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
On a holiday. I won't say I was hoodwinked, but it was an interesting ride.
I heard this once, and it made me think about this. And it was from a military spouse who was similar situation. She was single and then married, and she said it was actually, it's difficult in both situations, being a single mom and then being a military spouse where the husband's deployed. But in some regards, it was a bit more of a challenge, because when it was just her and the kids, she knew that's what her focus was. But now she was focused on her husband too, and worried about going away. It was like, there's even more stress. Did you find that that's kind of the same, or was it about this? I mean, it's got to be difficult to be both ways, being a single mom. My mom was a single mom for a number of years as well.
So I guess, there are some similarities, of course, but in my specific situation, there were some. So I did not want to let my husband know everything that was going on at home. And I wanted him to keep his mind right for where he was at and for what he was doing, because he did have some times where his focus was taken away from what he was doing out there, and it got him in trouble. So another part of what I was doing, now I did have friends that I would cry to, vent to, but it does open an interesting dynamic. A lot of people may think, oh, you're married. It's just so simple. You got 2 people in the game. But what about when you're trying to protect your spouse too, from all the things that are happening? So you really, what do they call it? Burning candles at both ends. Yeah.
Now that's really neat, because I hadn't thought about that as well. Protecting on this end, because when you're forward deployed, there's things where I'm not sharing with the people back home, because they just never need to know about what's going on up front. And so it's not dishonest. It's just another way of just caring for the people that you really love, which is interesting. If you think about that, you're purposely leaving things out, to protect someone. So that's pretty unique. Anyway,
Well, that's
so
the thing too. You're coming back from a deployment. You got to you're reintegrating yourself back into your family's lives that have been without you for a period of time, and you're expecting. The thing that I always struggled with was when I came back, I had to realize, and this is what I didn't realize, is their lives changed. And when I came back, I was still thinking I was going to see this small miniature daughter still, and I come back and she's like up on my kneecap. I'm like, wait a second, life has been going on without me. And
right.
that's, to me, that's where the struggle is, and that's why I look at Marty now. I'm like, man, how do you manage doing that? Because I think personally, I think it's harder to be a military spouse. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. And now Marty's experiencing, I feel like it's a harder job. I really do. Because mine, when I was focusing on missions, it was cut and dry. I was focusing on that. It was going to happen. And I didn't have these ankle biter things that you run into, a bad HVAC, a plumbing situation, the kids' grades, and they're not listening to you. They're sick, and you got to take care of 3 kids by yourself. And then you got to deal with this kid that shows back up home after 6 months, and he or she is trying to reintegrate back into the family. Like, hey, I've got this. I've got the checking account. You don't need it. So those are the kind of things that I would be, that's why I think that, looking back on my life, I think that military spouse doesn't get enough credit that they deserve. I don't feel like they get that.
That's a fair point.
How did you handle it? How did you deal with those pressures of coming back to me, getting reintegrated back in with your family after he's been gone? How did you manage to do that?
So that was difficult at times, especially when there's times even now after he left the service, I still have to remind myself, I can share things with him now, right? He's here. So when one time I was trying to surprise him by redoing the floors in our home, right? And that was a renovation nightmare. So he walked in through the door and he looked and he was like, because it wasn't done, right? So he looking like, whoa, what is this? What's happening? So I find that there is a balance between still keying them in on important things like tearing out walls or renovating the home, right? Or just making the distinction with, we've switched to low-fat milk, right? So you still have to just find that balance. But that's what we did. We eventually found our balance.
Now talking about balance, as you were moving around, what was the balance like having to try to find a job at each place you go and being agile with that? Was that kind of where you fell in with the taxes because you always got to file taxes, or have you been doing that forever?
So I have been. Taxes was always on the back burner. Fortunately, I was with the federal government for a long time, so I was able to switch between locations because, like with the IRS, they're everywhere, right? When I worked with them, and then also with the Office of Inspector General. Even with this last move to the DC area, I transferred over to their headquarters location. Right. But my earliest start was 19 at Jackson Hewitt. I was there for 6 seasons. And then after that, I went to school, got my accounting degree. Then I got my job with the IRS in 2010. After I got my associates in accounting, I was doing tax examinations for self-employed and small businesses. So I felt like I kept going back to, this one area. And even after I left the IRS and became an auditor with the federal government, I just still felt that helping people with taxes was more of my calling than being, I won't say, just being on the other end, right? I wanted to help them before they got to where they needed somebody like me. Somebody came in knocking on, sending a letter. I want to help them not get to that point, put it like that. And if they did get to that point, I want to help them keep calm and get it done. Get her done, right? Make sure they're okay. Right.
No, that's good. I mean, you can see the passion coming from you as you talk about that. And that's important, as you found that. to do that. What was your favorite post or base? Sorry, Air Force.
So I can say that McGuire was the main base that we stayed at. So as a family, we didn't get moved around constantly. My husband was always sent off, to different assignments. But McGuire, even my daughters, they feel like New Jersey's home. That's just what it is. Mm-hmm.
McGuire, huh? James, did you ever get to McGuire?
I went there, not as my dad was never stationed there. I've been there once. But yeah, I mean, no offense, most Air Force bases are amazing. So it really didn't matter what Air Force base you were located. So I know McGuire, based off what I saw when I went and visited, it was amazing. So, I mean, it's not like the Army. No offense, Marty.
So I want to do that. I want to do this because we have you have so much value, and I'm going to do this with y'all's permission. I want to cut to commercial early, and then I want to talk about what you're doing now, what you offer, especially because we are in tax season, and people want to know. All right, you got the queen of taxes. Share some stuff. Let's talk. So, are y'all okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's do that. Let's go ahead and cut to commercials right now. And I think it's time to about spring break's coming up. What do you think? Share some footies?
I think I know where I need to go for 5 days.
Let's go get
5
we
nights.
can do that too. And what would be great for that would be some footies.
You're watching the Lounge with Legends TV show with your hosts, Marty Martinez and James A. Feltz.
Did I see that right? Did it say pay for our services and receive 5-night Mexico vacation?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Sign me up, Marty. Sign me up. Sign me up.
That's why I played footies right before because I'm like, I'm going to lose them. Let me get the footies in. And then we're going to play the Mexico thing. We go hand
I
in
was
hand.
just thinking that too. I'm like, that'd be great. Just have those on and go down there with it.
I'm like, you know what? Go get your footies, people. Come on, y'all. But yeah, so what's up with that? So that's like
Yes.
Get your taxes done. Don't fear the tax man, and then you're sipping on pina coladas. I mean,
That's the way to do it, right? You worked hard for it, you earned it, and tax time is such a stressful time of year. So why not get get a chance to make those preparation fees work for you, right? So when you get signed up with me and we do your services throughout the month of March, because we're using that as an incentive to bring you in now and not one day before April 18th or 17th, right?
Yeah.
So just come on down and we can get it done and you get a vacation on top of it.
So
And
if you
that's
come
for-
in April 17th, like Marty does, what do you get for that? Do you get anything for that or
late
no?
filing fee.
You get a high five for making it through the door at that time. That's what you
So so what you're offering there is for individual or family taxes, individual taxes, or business taxes, or both.
It's both. It's for individual corporation and for business taxes. So I'm not going to punish anybody who doesn't have a business. You can still come in, get it done, and then get that voucher. Now, taxes and fees are not included, but the stay where you're going actually is.
All right. So they got to get themselves there,
Mm-hmm.
but you're paying for the hotels covered.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So James and I will have you do JTF 214 or Lounge with Legends, and then we're going on vacation. We'll film the next episode from Mexico.
That
Where
would
in
be
Mexico?
fantastic, right?
We got to have
Where
two
in Mexico?
rooms though, so we got to make sure we get 2 rooms.
Fine. Okay. Fine. We'll do footies and JTF 214. Okay. Fine. Where in Mexico? Wherever you.
It's you get to choose which resort in Mexico. There's a PDF that I'll send out, and then you'll be able to let me know which one.
Oh, I'm telling you, y'all
You're
got
gonna be busy. You're gonna get busy in March. Oh my gosh! Why
Oh
would
my
that's an offer you can't refuse, Marty.
I know. We're going to put the links all in the comments so you can check it out.
Mhm.
This is huge, but you got to act quick because it is today's the 7th, so it's 8th, 9th. It's going to be 9th when this airs. You got to do this before the end of March. So,
Please do.
so rewarding the fast action takers to do that. So definitely do that. That's a heck of a deal. I love that. Okay, so.
It's also an incentive because I find that a lot of people, business owners, or even individuals, they're scared to come in and do their taxes because they don't feel like they kept good enough records, right? So that's what we're also here for. We're here to counsel, to communicate, and we help you document. So that's a part of what we're here for, what we want to do.
So you're not going to punish James and I when we come in like this and say, "Can you help us?"
How did you come up with that incentive? How did you know that? I mean, that's a great idea. I mean, it's brilliant. How did you?
Well, it's actually kind of easy. She figures most people are fleeing to Mexico anyways to avoid taxes.
That's not the answer.
Oh. No, Marty. No. I mean, I offer a lot of incentives for different places, but that is definitely just one place I felt really spoke to me to offer to people. So I was also trying to decide if I wanted to do something for St. Patty's Day because I do have an Ireland vacation incentive too. So yeah. I mean, I'll be doing incentives throughout the year.
Yeah, it's James's birthday.
What? Happy early birthday, James.
Thank you. I'll be 24. That's going to be amazing.
Will be.
For what, the second time?
Well, it depends on who's asking. But
okay.
24 times 2. But so what are some of the so people come in to you, what are some of the common mistakes that they can fix just to before they even come visit you, just to take off some of the pain off their plate?
Okay. Well, the biggest thing is that I mean, as entrepreneurs, we're smart already, right? But the problem is that we have so much information already out there. Right. And when we're trying to qualify for these tax credits and deductions, we may see it and interpret it differently from the way that the tax law really intended for us to take it. And then, especially with COVID, you know, a lot of people are taking advantage of the meal deductions and expenses. Essentially, before the pandemic, you can only claim 50% of that as a business expense. But now, because of the pandemic, and it does expire, I believe, at the end of this year, that they get to have a credit of 100% of that business expense as long as it comes from a restaurant. And the intent of that is essentially for that. They're trying to help spur the economy. They're trying to help the restaurants out. They're also trying to have people come back out and do business lunches again. But here's the thing. Business lunches are also one of the things that get scrutinized, right up there with vehicle. When somebody buys a business vehicle and claims it for 100% expense, sometimes documenting is just not enough. There was an incident where a person did try to claim a high amount of business lunches, and although they had the documentation, they had the receipts for the lunches that they have. But the problem came is when the auditor questioned the person they actually had lunch with. So sometimes you think as the taxpayer, you're the only one that's going to get questioned, but that's not the case. So when the other party was questioned, the party said, oh yeah, we went to lunch. We talked about our family. And then it got disallowed just from that. Right. Wow. So not to say you can't greet each other and say, hello, how are you? How's the fam? Cut it. Because when you walk away from that lunch, you shouldn't be remembering, oh, they just renovated their, added a pool to their backyard. What the auditor is listening for, oh, we talked about this inquisition, this merger we're going to, and then that's all you need to say. They don't want to hear about your child who won regional champions. But people don't know that. People don't know that they may be questioned a year or two from now. What about that lunch you had? You'll be like, oh yeah, we caught up. It was great.
Why did that stick in your brain, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if you eat the lunch with the same person? Like all the time. If I eat lunch with him every lunch.
Right.
Is that okay?
So the biggest thing is to make sure when you are lunching, that is definitely about business, that you were talking about business. So when you are questioned, that's all you're answering. Like, that's all you're saying every day. Yes, we had a meeting about this. Something changed. We had another meeting about this, because here's the other thing too. The IRS gets it. As entrepreneurs, you're busy. You don't have traditional breaks, right? Sometimes you're working from 7 to 10 with at PM without even taking a break. So we get it. You have to do your lunches and make that a business event. So just make sure, if questioned, you know what you're saying.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. So like James and I, we're getting ready to run some workshops, and we will during the workshops, James and I will bring in lunch. But because it's a working lunch, that is something where it's allowed, right?
Yes.
Because, and James, during lunch, make sure not to ask about anyone's families. That's what I'm heard.
Listen, the thing is, just make sure that's not what somebody's walking away with. They should not be walking away with something personal in your life. They should be walking away with what you did for their business, your business, or how you work together.
Gotcha.
Now you do a lot of speaking events too, because I heard you did a event with VGA, Veterans Growing America, and I remember you breaking some hearts on there with some questions. Does that happen often? But I remember you doing that during that call, and I was like, ooh, because a lot of people were like, well, I thought it was this, and like you said, it's about that interpretation, and with you, it's cut and dry. It's like, hey, no, that's not right.
And the biggest thing, of course, is your wardrobe. You see how great you guys look today, right? You're like, hey, let me put this as an expense on my taxes. And I would be like, no, I'm sorry. You look great, but you're going to look great here. You're going to look great when you walk outside, so it doesn't have your branding on it. It's not specific to your position. Is not what makes it essential for your business. So that was a heartbreaker for a lot of people. They said, oh, I need to look good, and perfect and crisp and clean and right. So that was a heartbreaking moment for some people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, and that's one of those things where it is heartbreaking. It's gotta be like you said, like with our new jackets that are coming out, those are specifically for the show that is half camouflage, half black. And the only time we wear them is for this show. You really have to say, this is the only time we wear it. Grant Cardone, he's got his thing where on the inside it's 10x, and he's got his shoes that are just like that. And you were talking about the vehicle wrap. I think I'm tracking it as long as it is completely wrapped and it's for your vehicle. Then it is allowed because it's a moving advertisement. It is 100% wrapped for your business. But it's sticky. I mean, those are those things where you have to call your accountant. Call your make sure before you wrap it and claim it as an expense, talk to somebody like yourself. Right.
Exactly. And like I said, a vehicle, that's actually another trigger too for the IRS, where if at any point somebody comes and do a visual inspection of the cars you have in your driveway, you better have another car that you use for personal business if you're claiming that other vehicle 100%. That's it. That's all. Right.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And that's where it's one of those things like, do you even want to have to have that discussion? So yeah, it's tricky. That's why we hire people like yourself to do that discussion. So one of the other tripwires you see with people, either individuals or small businesses?
So one thing I'll say, even recently with the COVID testing, because depending on how often you travel, or even back when a lot of different states had their own protocols for allowing people to come off those planes or to get on a plane, and you had to do multiple COVID tests, right? It's like right now I run from Q-tips because of this, right? So the thing is, people were sometimes they were paying, especially to get those results expedited, and that was actually costing a couple of $100 for each time. And people were claiming it on their Schedule C as an expense. And then they would get a letter. Just recently, a client had got a letter saying that it was disallowed and they didn't know why. So what the IRS would tell you is what's not allowed in terms of where you specifically put it. They don't give a little hint in the corner that says it's allowed, just not there. Right. So that's where I come in and say, it's an allowable expense, but it's considered a medical expense, even though you might have been traveling for your business or whatever. It's still considered a medical expense, and it goes on Schedule A. So if you go ahead and put that there, then it becomes allowable. But then there's also some other things that come into play in order for that to work or to benefit you on your tax return. Wow. But that's essentially it. You really do need to talk to somebody just to make sure that you're interpreting what you're reading correctly.
So let me ask you this. We're talking about, we're still feeling the effects of COVID and people that are having to work from home. And as we've done this, I think we've become more educated on the differences between the definitions between remote work versus telework. And remote work being I work from home, and telework meaning I have a physical office. How do you claim your things like internet and your office from home and stuff like that? If you are a telework, or do you have to just be a remote worker? Is that one of those things that you have to have that in a work agreement? Or
here's the thing: if you're an employee, you don't get those expenses. If you're an employee of a business, just how, like I said, I worked for the government. And we were at home, especially when the pandemic first started out. I didn't get to claim, what I bought to have my home office worked as an employee. But as an entrepreneur, that's when you get that expense. When you have your own business, when you regularly do business out of your home office, and when you talk to clients or see clients, that's when you start claiming those expenses. So not as an employee, you have to be your own business.
Okay. So if you get hired to a new job and you're going to work from home 100%, that's just part of you doing business with that new company now. So you're interesting. Okay.
I know a lot of people that don't know that rule, right? Are not executing.
And that's why I'm asking, because people are like, well, I'm working from home, I should have to claim my internet, or I just bought this nice stand-up desk, all these different things because I don't have an office anymore. So are you finding other things like that where people might be getting it wrong? And here in a bit, you're going to be a lot of audits?
All the time. Just recently, somebody tried to claim their refrigerator because they said, well, and they were an employee, and they said, well, I work from home. I need my refrigerator for my food, right? No.
Oh,
So some things are just a part of you being an employee, right?
yeah.
Like you're not able to claim your car. You're not able to claim quote unquote business lunches, because the theory or the mindset is that you're getting reimbursed for some things through your employer.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
Just how, like, I was a field auditor, and if I used my car to go to and from auditing sites, that I got reimbursed for from my employer. I didn't
Right.
put it on my taxes.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's interesting. Hey, we have one of the stories about former TV anchor glad she challenged the IRS. What was that about? I know I think you shared that with VGA, and I wanted you to share with the audience.
Yes, I did. So there was a TV anchor. She had a tax professional. She had co-workers who all claimed the same expenses because they were on camera. She tried to claim expenses for her clothing, makeup, gym membership, her contact lenses, and the like. So she was so surprised when the judge slapped her, figuratively, not literally, with a $20,000 fine, right? I mean, $20,000 tax bill, not a fine. And the tax bill was just pretty much disallowing all the expenses that she tried to claim. And they were very kind to break down why each one was disallowed. Again, going back to the clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Just because she bought pretty, nice looking business suits and outfits did not mean she can claim them, because she could wear them at any point outside of business. It wasn't specific. It wasn't a condition to her employment. Like if you worked in a waste plant or a radiation plant, just somewhere where you have to have a full hazmat suit,
Mm-hmm.
or a construction worker and you need steel
Got it.
toe boots, right? Yeah. So that is one of the main things that come up, is that you hear all the time, oh, I can just write it off. No, you can't.
Right. That goes back to the previous point of, you really got to understand what you can and cannot claim. And so no, that's interesting, because I thought people could, like in the military, there are certain jobs where you do get a clothing allowance because you have to have civilian clothes. So that's pretty interesting.
And then here's the thing, another part of, just for example, how I mentioned how we're starting the trucking division for my business.
Mm-hmm.
It's because the more you focus down or you specialize in something, the more the world opens up with what you know versus going to somebody who has a general understanding. We all have a general understanding. But did you know that truck drivers sometimes have their spouse come along with them on their trips,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And that's actually, the spouse can claim a per diem too for that ride. A lot of people don't know that, because yes, because some people are so focused on
Sorry about that. We'll wait for James to come back in.
I was saying it was just getting good.
I just got a notice, like right when that happened, StreamYard said, we're experiencing issues. I was like, Well, we could have ended right there, be like, cliffhanger, tune in next week.
Right?
I thought it was my internet. I was like, oh my God, did I pay the? Oh yeah.
See, James said the IRS was gonna,
He was like, she's giving too much. She's giving too much.
Yeah. Well, you said it earlier. You said that whenever something would strike, and then he called it. I forgot what Marty said it was, but it struck us. But no, it was getting real good. I was like on the edge of my seat. I was like leaning in on it.
But yes, just wanted to go back to what I had mentioned, is that when spouses ride along with the truck driver, of course, they have to be doing something too. So whether they're helping you with assisting with loading, unloading, which a lot of them do. If they're even helping you dispatching or with the bookkeeping, then yes, they can deduct 50% of what the per diem rate is at that time, because it does change, right? But a lot of people don't know that. And then sometimes other tax professionals will tell them, no, you can't, because they're used to it not being applicable to other industries. So, yeah.
So James often has a 5-year-old popping in the background. Could we claim that as labor, or those are child labor laws?
As advertising, yes, you can. You're probably joking, but yes, you can.
There you go.
Yes, that's actually something you can do, especially if you have your children, grandchildren as in your marketing materials, because we have them, right, with pictures and all of the like. Yes, you definitely can claim that. That's what you do.
The thing I like most of what you said was how important it is to niche down and be specific on what type of taxes and businesses that you help. Because a lot of times we go and we trust these gurus, and I'm not putting you as a guru like that, but I'm just saying you're like trying to be the subject matter expert of too much. So then I mentioned something like you just talking about the truck driver riding, and then my CPA says no. So I think it's so important to find those CPAs and accountants that can actually help you specifically for the business that you have. What advice? We have a lot of entrepreneurs that listen to our show. What advice would you give an entrepreneur when they need to reach out to you and find you? A lot of us, we stumble through and we find you about a year after we've opened up. What do you think is the best advice to give an entrepreneur starting out, when to reach out to you and find yourself in a bookkeeper?
So I would say that it's always good to start out with professionals, or even, like you said, mentorships, just when you're starting out with the business. You hate to stumble. You hate to repeat some of the same mistakes that you keep hearing about. But also, too, money's a cost. Money's a factor in it. It's like, oh my goodness, how much is this person going to cost? I'm already robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? But I do have entry-level packages depending on what it is that you need. Where, for example, for professional services, I have a lot of business consultants, and they start off with saying, hey, I may only have, less than 10 clients a month. I'm just starting out. I can't afford a lot of the standard rates that I'm seeing out there. Then I said, oh no, I grow with you. We grow together. We start at one amount, and then we reassess every quarter just to see if we're still aligning with each other and what we want to do. So always ask. Don't be afraid. And the biggest, the worst that can happen is that you find you're not a fit for each other, right? But you just want to make sure you're making the right moves for your business. And I do want to add, I don't want anybody to leave from this afraid of the IRS, thinking the IRS is trying to get me. They won't let me be great. As a former employee, and I'm not being biased about this either, I found out how much the IRS has in place for businesses, because what makes us work? Businesses, right? Just how when the banks crashed, how that affected everybody. We need everybody in business to stay in business. So that's why you see all these credits, deductions. They ask that you apply it correctly. I'm here to make sure that you have the source documentation you need and you following the rules the way that they're intended. That's how we all work together.
Gotcha. So it's kind of like they taught us when we were in command, call your attorney. CYA, call your attorney. We're saying now, call your accountant. So
yes.
CYA. Oh, that's awesome. James, you got anything else?
Well, I was just going to say, we appreciate, we've had, the opportunity to hear you speak before on other platforms, and just the knowledge and information that you give to others openly and leading with value. We really appreciate it. And, you can't go wrong with using your services. And honestly, right now is the best time. So you can get that 5-day in Mexico vacation. And it's exciting. You're the first CPA I know that's actually used a vacation as an incentive, and I think it's brilliant.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, it's go get 2 pina coladas, one in each hand, right, Garth Brooks? So I love it. So I think it's that time of the show. What do you think, James?
It is. Hopefully we won't get cut off again by StreamYard, right?
Oh no, I hope not. So see if I can bring it up. StreamYard's acting really wonky today, but this it's time for our Freedom Means Moments. Thanks to our sponsors, A-Rod Salute to Suits, who helps transitioning veterans, male and females, look good, look like $1 million as they're getting out. You can get a suit, shirt, tie, and a pocket square for $275. And he does a wardrobe assessment for you, and you can keep you looking like this. So thanks to you, A-Rod. Clarice, what we ask you is, you've served and you've sacrificed as a military spouse through deployments and everything we just talked about. For us, freedom means something just a little bit different. We want to ask you, what does freedom mean to you?
Mm-hmm. And it's such a moving question. So I'll answer it like this. In the beginning, my life started out pretty rough. And what I enjoyed was the freedom to keep moving forward, the freedom to still get education, the freedom to get a great job with benefits while I was with the jobs that I had previously. And also being able to be there for my husband when he did deploy out, having the resources to call on to with on base help. It's escaping me right now, but they have family centers where you can ask for help. So that's what freedom is, being able and allowed to, and being able to see your own successes as you keep moving on throughout what we call life, right? Because we're seeing what's happening now when some freedoms are trying to be taken away. And right now, I'm glad that we're still here today, being able to walk forward and continue to improve upon ourselves for ourselves and our family.
I love it. Yeah, freedom is definitely a topic on everybody right now, and it's I appreciate you being our legend this week, and what a beautiful answer. And again, if y'all are interested, I will put the banner up again. Go check out right there, webstaxprep.com. And before the end of March, almost said May, geez, too late. Before the end of March, 5 days, Mexico. That's crazy. So go check it out. You don't have to be in Herndon to go check it out. James is going to go check her out. He's down in North Kakalaki. So go check it out. Appreciate it. We're going to put you in the green room real quick. And again, thank you for being our legend this week.
Thank you for having me.
Wow, James, that was pretty cool.
There's so many questions that I could ask. I'm going to have to ask her afterwards. It's amazing. For folks that need her services, Webb's Tax Prep, you need to reach out to her. Do it before March. Get the 5 nights in Mexico. I cannot say that enough. That's amazing.
I should have asked her with that 5 nights, can I dump my kids off with her too?
Well, we can do a babysitting service. We'll figure that out. That's actually a pretty
no. So next week we've got Harrison. We got Harrison Bernstein coming from Sidelines, and he also wrote the book. Do I have it? Everyday Coach. What a great book! Author of James. I was hoping you wouldn't have it handy. Everyday Coach Harrison. This is going to be a great episode. You've been following. He was just with Nick Saban and a whole bunch of heavy hitters.
Yeah, it's going to be a great episode, just like this one was. And just, I think back to, Clarice talking about just that support. She's amazing. And like I said, we've had the honor of listening to her speak and be a keynote before in other platforms. And this is definitely a person you need to reach out to get some help with your taxes. And if you need something in Virginia notarized, she can also notarize.
What?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then don't forget, if you want to learn about how to scale your business. If you're an entrepreneur or want to find your right fit client, join us next Wednesday. It is at jtf214.com/sell. And we will give you the marketing easy button. And we will talk to you at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, doing a little bit later so that way everybody can have the littles fed. And we'll join us for 1 hour. It's a free webinar. And just for signing up, we're going to give you some goodies. So appreciate it. And what else we got, James?
I'm ready. It's going to be an exciting rest of the day, Thursday and Friday. So we're ready.
All right. I'm going to show that Mexico again, because that looks amazing. Let's show that one more time into show.
You've been watching the Lounge with Legends show, countering the narrative that veterans are all broken misfit toys. Veterans are the lifeblood of American freedom. Serving in harsh situations, coupled with their training, have forged them into some of the most resilient and capable leaders in the world. And that's where we come in, celebrating the success stories, taking you on a journey of transformation from military to business. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back soon. But find us on Facebook at Lounge with Legend or at JTF214. Till next time.